so it's Digital Music Trends at Midem 2013, and this is the last interview of the day. Of course, you can see we're in a very dimly lit restaurant, and I'm here with the CEO of Deezer, Axel Dauchez. So hi, Axel, and nice for you to be here. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
So first of all, let's start by talking not about Deezer for once, but let's talk about the Midemlab competition that you were involved in judging just earlier. And that was about music discovery and music curation. So were there any startups that you were particularly excited about that were presenting there?
Yes, it was a really interesting panel because I think the current music business is very impacted by the fact that people are listening more music but are less engaged with music.
Yeah, sure.
And music recommendation is definitely one of the key way to rebuild the value of the music through the engagement of people with music.
Absolutely.
So I was very interested by this panel. All the candidates were very smart, very well selected, I should say. Personally, I quite love 3-1.
Yeah.
I love Sound.
Yeah.
The smart thing about Sound is there is still a lot of work to do, but they find a way to provide a kind of a playlist experience.
Yeah.
But using a radio process, which means much less costly for them. So it's an interesting way of finding economic balance in a different situation.
Absolutely.
I love their product.
Absolutely, yeah.
I love Soundful.
Yeah, that's really good fun.
Yeah, the guy was good. You know, he was playing his guitar on his iPad.
Yeah.
I think it's a pure game. You know,
of course, yeah. There's no
else in the game, but
you don't learn anything from it, but it's really good fun.
You don't learn, but you play with music.
Yeah.
It's a way of engaging with music.
And
I love all the ideas with finally you know, a story of the past 10 years has been the fact that iPad and iPhone and smartphones are finally disintermediating a lot of hardware.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's definitely doing a next step on that with an iPad. It's nice.
Yeah, it's nice.
And also I love a Song Drop.
Yeah.
Because those listening rooms really make sense.
Yeah.
And the common experience around music synchronized, a bit like Sound, in fact.
Yeah.
Is something very interesting, and which is missing in most of the service today.
Yeah,
that's a 3 peaks I loved.
Yeah, absolutely, and Deezer is it's been relatively open on their API front as well. What's your take on third-party developers accessing the API of Deezer or using some of the information that comes from Deezer for applications?
It's crucial. You know, we decided to focus all our innovation on R&D to the core service, which is provide the best music service. And so opening the API is really externalizing all the innovation worldwide.
Yeah.
For the past 20 years, the music has been very difficult to deal with for any kind of developers, country per country. It was very complex, and finally those API allow to liberate, to unleash all the innovation worldwide.
Yeah.
Whether you are a small developer or car manufacturers, to seamless access to 20 million tracks in 200 countries. It was a dream.
Yeah.
In the past, now it's reality.
Yeah, absolutely. And talking about Deezer, of course, a huge round of funding last year. Big expansion plans internationally, and a lot of people, of course, are talking about the US and the connected cars. But what's your vision for these types of services like connected cars and things that maybe are a little bit more behind the curve in other countries? But how do you see them develop in Europe and in other developing countries?
So I think we made that choice of trying to be global.
Yeah.
It was a hard choice. I mean, it was a choice with a lot of corresponding investment.
Sure.
We did it not only to catch the emerging market growth. Of course, for that, yesterday the market is very concentrated in 6 markets. Now Brazil, Turkey, Indonesia will become contributing for the good sake of everybody.
Yeah.
It's also because we believe that every, even tiny markets, it's at the same time a source of creation. And if you give access to those artists to the worldwide market, finally you are changing the charts and
Yeah.
the consumption pattern, even in the existing big countries. Because so far, what you're listening in France, in the US, is mainly driven by the distribution structure,
Yeah.
not by the creation and its match with the audience. So being global was a way for us to really break down the barrier for every creator to have access to the audience it deserves.
And that's super interesting because, like, in a way, it relates to the way in which YouTube is breaking artists right now, because there are a global presence, and videos that are broadcast in the UK can be seen in South Korea, like in Japan, and so, like, having a global vision of Deezer as a company that is present in so many territories also allows you to come in and actually help break an act if you want to.
It's incredibly true. What YouTube showed, specifically with Gangnam Style, but also with others, is the fact that when you offer the access to any artist, the audience, the worldwide audience, suddenly you see momentum you've never seen before.
Yeah.
The difference is in YouTube, it's just an access. It doesn't give access to the market. It gives access to the audience. With our system, it's the same, but we really provide any creator the access to the market it deserves.
Yeah.
So that's a big difference. You know, I read something about what Gangnam Style get from YouTube, which finally it's big, but it's pretty low versus the phenomenon it was.
Yeah.
On this it would have been different.
Yeah. And how do you deal with the challenge that is, of course, the licensing side of music? Because with international expansion comes having to deal with collection societies in each territory, with different publishers, different partners. And of course, with so many territories, it becomes very difficult to have people on the ground on each territory. So how do you categorize different territories, or manage to create an ecosystem where all those territories can be managed effectively, I guess?
There is a huge complexity, and so we spend a lot of nights to solve all those issues one by one. But that's, you know, when I'm in bad shape, I'm tired. When I'm in good shape, I'm saying, okay, I'm building an entry barrier to the next one. So,
absolutely. You must be in a pretty unique position as well, because once you do get to the number of countries that you hope to get to, you know, you're going to be one of the companies with the most data on rights as well, which is interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm not sure we are yet there in terms of understanding of the data.
Yeah.
But we made some partnership with universities about trying to find something. Of course, some algorithm to identify the emerging tracks, but also, which one I love, how to measure the transfer of an artist from a country to another.
Yes.
And this virality, this geographic movement of a track of an artist, we learn a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. And in terms of on-demand streaming versus or together with radio, how do you see those two coexisting? Can they, you know, and the curation of, for example, you know, an automatic channel based on, you know, a certain artist versus a purely on-demand offering?
I think two kind of questions. And about the curation, we are very invested in curation. We have a 40 editorial head worldwide covering all the main cultural area. And on those people, every week are listening to 250 new albums and select the best of the best. So we think it's crucial to engage the people with music as the non-algorithm based recommendation. You know?
Sure.
Algorithm based recommendation put you in clusters. Editorial recommendation open your musical scope. Yeah. So it's important for us. I don't think radio and smart radios are doing that job. When you're on Pandora and you select a channel, even very customized, you will hear music. You will go through music you don't know, which is not discovery. Yeah. Discovery is when you make an active things. So we consider that not solving that issue. Second of all, there is a good complementarity between on-demand and radio, because sometimes you need your music, sometimes you need some music. Yeah. So every user will switch from one to each other. However, I do consider that the Pandora model is specific to the US.
Absolutely. And moving on to connected devices, one thing that is interesting, but also in a way a little bit worrying, is that a lot of hardware companies are tooling up to partner or acquire digital music streaming services. And so my fear is that, for example, say a Samsung that partners with M-Spot, that they might lock out certain competitive services from what is a huge ecosystem of connected TVs. Do you have the same fear, or do you think they're going to be open and actually allow everybody to have a share into the market?
I can be wrong, but I think the time of the closed ecosystem are finished.
Yeah.
The only one who could have done that is, which have done that, is Apple.
Yeah,
There's
but
no
that's their business model.
But he has finally to open quite significantly. They're trying to reclose it thanks to a exchange of terms of condition. There is 2 years. Finally, they've made a step back.
Yeah.
And I think that you need to make a split between the a basic need application from the side application like weather forecast, like mapping, can be device centric.
Yeah.
But when you are in a major application like the mail or the music, you need to be device neutral. There is no question about that.
Absolutely.
So every time manufacturers will try to close the system, it will so radically reduce the reach that finally it will leave it open to the other service.
Sure. And final question, talking about how Deezer really broke into France through its partnerships with some of the mobile carriers. How are you planning to take that a similar strategy abroad, and is it very difficult to broker deals with the mobile carriers?
It's absolutely crucial for us. We are balancing a direct recruitment, leveraging Facebook and marketing investments, with indirect recruitment through partners and specifically to carriers.
Yeah.
And another thing, we need the carriers to be independent from Facebook and the Facebook to be independent from carriers. So we are trying to find the right balance between both. There is an incredible momentum for synergy with carriers.
Yeah.
We already signed a carriers deal in 25 countries. Including groups like telco groups like Orange, Dutch Telecom, Telenor, Melecom, Belgacom. We really succeed into replicating those deals.
Yeah.
But the hardest part starts when you sign the deal.
Yeah.
Because there is a huge difference between making the deal and making a success from the deal. So we learn how to train the sales force, to work on the sales force commission structure to make sure that this deal will become a real success behind. Absolutely,
and of course it's there's also a question when you talk about carrier partnerships about costs. So do you think there is a way in which maybe carriers targeting specific demographics can look at reducing the cost of the subscription, or if there's some flexibility in the pricing models depending on the territory and the carrier that you're working with?
You need to be very clear with a carrier about the reason for him to do the deal with him.
Sure.
If it is not acquisition. Okay, when you subscribe to a carrier, you subscribe because of their price, sometimes because of their device,
yeah,
but not because of anything else. So when telcos are considering these things, we stop discussing because we think that we'll spend a lot of time for not so much.
Of course.
I think we are a cutting-edge retention tool.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we have some evidence of it. When you are a subscriber to Orange, having Deezer in your tariff, and when you use Deezer, you will use it 40, 60 hours per month.
Wow.
So if one day you decide to move to another telco, because of the time you spent on Deezer, there is no question that you will have to pay £10, $10, €10 to Deezer to keep this music.
Yeah.
So you are building a kind of an objective exit barrier to the telco, which actually convert into a non-churn or retention tool, an incredible one.
Which is extremely valuable because, of course, we all know how expensive acquisition is for them. So acquiring new customers is so expensive, and so retaining them is probably the best strategy at this point.
No, it's mainly that if you are in the acquisition side, a benefit, you are considered as a campaign.
Yeah.
When you are on the retention side, you are considered as being part of the service. So it's a long-term business.
That's great. That's awesome. Well, thanks so much for your time, and I hope you have a very exciting Midem.
Thank you very much. Bye.